Welcome to your Monday mood for the week of February 23rd to March 1st. Wow, we're almost done with February. We've entered Pisces season, and this week, dun dun dun, we have our first Mercury retrograde of the year. So, Mercury retrograde is the most widely known astrological transit, and I'm grateful for that because it brings more people into the zeitgeist and the understanding. So we all know the whole thing about retrogrades, right? Checking your communications, right? Your texting, your conversations, your emails, your reservations, when you're planning things, okay? It's a time that we have to really pay attention to the details because they're going to get all scrambled up, especially because Mercury is currently in Pisces, which it does not enjoy being in. Pisces, as you can imagine, is very ethereal and poetic and loves all things artistic and just going with the flow. And Mercury, which is ruled by Pisces' sister sign, Virgo, is the opposite of that. We like plans, we like lists, we like organization, strategy. So Mercury in Pisces is like, fuck that shit. And then it's going retrograde, so it's like, woo, we can do whatever we want, which means there can be lots of space for issues. Be mindful. So if you're doing anything during this time period, Mercury goes retrograde on the East Coast on Thursday, like early in the morning. On the West Coast, 10 something at night on Wednesday. So during this time period from this week until about the end of March, it will leave retrograde on the 20th of March, but then you have the post-shadow. So we've already been in the pre-shadow since the middle of February, so you probably have already felt some of the weird vibes. I sure have. And you might see some of those themes come back up, but that is the other reason why I really do love a retrograde, is because it allows us to reassess things that started back in the day or a while ago. We get to bring it back around. We might have a new perspective around it, which is definitely that Piscean energy. So it's also a super helpful transit. It's not all that scary when you understand how to work with it and say like, okay, maybe what's coming back up, it needs to be revised. It wasn't going to work the way that you thought it was, or it wasn't the best idea. Or maybe you just have to understand that things are going to go a little haywire and not to get your feathers ruffled, right? It's a very self kind of like, I want to say self-empowering time, because when you know that things are weird, you can respond to them in a way that keeps you as chill and balanced as possible, which is why I love astrology, because the energy is going to do its thing, but we have the agency to know what it's doing, so we can be like, oh, I see what's happening here. So maybe avoid the argument with somebody and say, I'm going to catch you later, or let me think about that for a second before responding. Then that way you can navigate a retrograde in a way that is productive and actually helping you get what you need out of it, instead of it feeling like one thing after another. Because then you're holding this weird pressure and things get daunting and scary, and then that's when it turns into that Mercury retrograde that we all have characterized, right? But as you can see, we have lots of things happening with travel, internationally, which is very Piscean as well, in the sense of like barriers or boundaries or borders kind of showing up with this whole grounding of flights to Mexico. You're also seeing that there's this resurgence or this continued focus on information, papers, things that's going to continue to come out, maybe from way back in the day. It's going to come back around. My sister, who's a Pisces, she literally just got something in the mail from 2024. So very Pisces retrograde. Me and my business partner, or one of my business partners or collaborators, we just had to realize that we had to redo a whole idea that we had, because of what we just was revealed to us, right? Something that we decided back then, now we've got to go back and redo it again, and that's very Mercury retrograde. So just understand that it is okay to have to revisit things during this time, But how can you bring the wisdom of the past into this present moment to tackle it in a way that feels productive and helpful? So let's get into the Monday mood. I want to do the light seer. Okay, remember to go and check out last week's Monday mood just so you see how the vibed for you. They have been wildly accurate for me, so I'm like, every time I do this, I'm like, what's gonna happen? What is this week bringing? That's right, I guess it's the Monday mood. All right, one more time. What is this Monday mood for this week of February 23rd through March 1st? Uh-oh. 3 of Swords. Okay, so 3 of Swords. Mercury retrograde. We might be dealing, you know what this actually feels like? It feels like a resolving. Ooh, it feels like a resolving of a 3 of Swords. Oh my God, I feel it in my heart. So this week, especially with this retrograde, something from the past that was once heartbreaking, feeling devastating, feeling like this is the worst, this is the saddest thing ever. Maybe what we found out last week, or maybe what we thought wasn't going to work, or maybe what we thought was a disaster. How could this happen? Why did this happen? It could be on a big scale, it could be on a small scale. There's something about this week that's going to show us that everything is resolving itself, that we thought was the worst thing ever, the most heartbreaking thing ever. There's resolve coming. I really feel that, because at first I'm like, oh no, we have the Hermit underneath it. That's that Virgo energy. So this week is helping us resolve some type of heartache that this is Swords. So mercurially, we've been kind of like, oh my God, okay, this isn't how I thought it was going to be. This didn't work the way I wanted it to. Why did this happen? This is causing me a lot of pain and frustration, and I just need this to be better. But there's a reason why whatever happened, happened. And that's why the Hermit being underneath this, in its reverse, it's showing us, oh, that's why that happened like that. That's why I had to experience that feeling of pain or frustration or loss or anger or whatever caused you to feel 3 of Swords. It'll be different for everyone. That's why, because I needed a new outlook. I'm very, very curious to see what our top card is. Queen of Cups. Now we understand on an intuitively, emotionally centered way why something once upon a time broke our hearts or was not what we wanted. This week with the retrograde and the whole season of this retrograde is healing the heartache around something that didn't go as planned once upon a time, and we will understand much more now why. Oh, I love energy like this. And I knew it when I saw it. I knew it. I felt like, oh no, this is resolved. And you can even see that. Like, look how different this energy is. This is a resolving energy of this pain, of this heartache, into a much more healed, emotionally understanding version of this reality. Like, oh, I see. And this feels great. And this is super Queen Pisces over here. So it's a very healing time period for something that once upon a time broke our little hearts, whatever that may be for you. So that is your Monday mood. And I'll see you next week when we talk about the full moon. That's a lunar eclipse in Virgo. See you later. Bye.